Chapter 10, Interview, Customer Support and Call Centers. Sarah Freeman has almost 20 years in leadership advancing and pioneering strategic solutions that deliver customer success primarily in the supply chain logistics, healthcare, and technology industries. Most recently, Sarah was Director of Global Business Services for UPS, responsible for healthcare, digital access program, preferred and international critical care groups in the US, Canada, and the Americas. Before that, she led the organization's Information Technology Global Help Desk program. Earlier in her career at UPS, she held various leadership roles in the same-day critical contact center, emphasizing process implementation and program transformation. In 2022, she moved on from UPS and is working on implementing transformational programs, including creating a new call center experience for her current employer. She earned her Bachelor of Science degree in Business Administration Management from the University of Nevada in Las Vegas and has received several awards for innovation. Debbie, how would you define customer centricity? Sarah, it's a group of systems and processes that enable us to make sure that what we're delivering is what we promised the customer. What are they paying for? Everything we do should either reflect that or measure that. Debbie, your specialty lies in the customer support and call center universe. What would you say is the role of that department or division in customer centricity? Sarah, it's the folks that are facing the customer. No matter what the company is selling or what a company does for a customer, customers will reach out and want to talk to somebody about the service, about new services, or all kinds of different things. That support role ensures that the people who make the business happen, like salespeople, can sell the business, and operations can move widgets around. But when it comes to talking to the customer about the promised services, it usually comes through customer support groups. When you're in customer service, internally you have some main stakeholders. Often that can be sales to make sure that service issues don't become what customers constantly bring up in sales negotiations. The customer service department should work closely with the sales and marketing teams to know what we sell to the customer. What is the business need for us to have these conversations with customers? Being customer-centric is twofold. You must deliver what you promised your customer, but the customer service organization also has to make sure that they're also delivering what's promised in service to the internal stakeholders. A good example of where that can go wrong would be, we need to process as many orders or quotes as possible. Maybe that's what the sales team would want. If we don't want that extra call volume, or we're trying to figure out how to send the customer to self-service, we might not deliver what the internal stakeholders need us to do. Debbie, from your experience, how can we best utilize the call center and representatives as a source of knowledge? Sarah, it used to be that you had to go to a call center to meet representatives and have these small moments that mattered. Now we're meeting in a virtual space. Call centers are data-rich. Most companies are capturing what happened on the call. If you have your call center knowledge, then what you do with that data is key because you'll have day-to-day customer-focused metrics there. In some companies, you have a call center buddy when you join and start onboarding. Debbie, what are some bad call center metrics? Sarah, handle time is a bad call center metric. That's the average length of time spent on a call, email, or chat. It's a bad metric from the customer centricity perspective because every customer will say that they don't care how long it takes. You should stay on the phone long enough to get the right answer. Handle time should really be used for staffing, forecasting, and planning, not as a metric that would be applied to the representative. Handle time is a lagging indicator. It's a symptom of other issues. For a representative, handle time is like telling a person who is coughing to just stop coughing. You can't just go to a rep and say, lower your handle time. There are ways that they will do that, and they won't be the ways that you or customers are likely to be happy with. You have to do your root cause analysis and focus on those leading indicators. Handle time is also the worst to brag about. I was once going over metrics in front of internal stakeholders. We had quality issues and escalations that were the source of complaints, but someone wanted to talk about how it took 47 seconds instead of 20 for the rep to pick up a call. Everybody loves NPS, but customers don't tend to differentiate their journey, the phone call versus the rep's attitude versus the service being satisfactory, etc. The customer might complete an NPS survey based on how they're feeling in the moment about the company. That shouldn't be put on the representative they happened to deal with. Another problem with NPS is that your calls are usually a fraction of your customers. If you have 1,000 customers, they don't all call you daily. Let's hope not. Using the NPS of a call center as any benchmark can be misleading. It would be better to find a touch point every customer has, which isn't the call center. Debbie, sometimes it's hard for customers to tell the difference between a rep who is not helping them or not correctly understanding their problem or complaint, and a rep whose hands are tied because of company policies. Can the reps feed stuff back to people like, look, I'm getting X calls a day about this shitty policy? Sarah, some companies have a customer suggestion process where the rep needs to log the call in a certain way to send it up. Maybe the customer wants to put in a process complaint. I like to have a process and procedures group or manager on the team. They should be listening to calls and checking to make sure that the processes are in control. When doing that, they should identify the pain points in the process for the customers and look for opportunities to improve processes. What do you do when you don't get an answer after calls or emails? You go to social media platforms and blast the company there. People look for CEOs on social media and they email the CEOs. Customers have created their own processes. Sometimes the process change happens because the CEO will ask someone to address the emails they're getting. It'll be a team of people in the call center or the C-suite's response team. I'm a big believer in empowering the frontline rep to submit these issues. Let's look at them proactively so that the customer doesn't end up going to the top through social media. The other thing would be to track escalations. When you ask for a supervisor, most companies transfer you to a senior rep. It's usually not a supervisor. From my company experience, they're just trying to get somebody that they can say knows the process, but gives the same answer. Until you escalate this a few more times, you don't get out of that level of rep. But if you capture those escalations, what we had to research and how we resolved it, it adds to the data that can help determine what you need to do to change your processes. Debbie, it seems like support is this sort of crutch that allows companies or teams to release lower quality stuff, knowing support will clean up the mess. Sarah, some companies take the less costly way and don't log some call center calls. But in tech support, it's a given that they're logging phone calls because of this exact problem. This is masked in some companies because nobody says, you had this many contacts come in when you did that launch, and this is how much it's costing. Call center and tech support costs should be added to the bottom line of your project. Companies should make sure that their tech support team is providing them with contact types by volume and allowing them to build it into their cost plan. There are plenty of good analytics pieces of software out there right now where you could go into the software, search for conversations around that feature or release, and you're going to then see how long those calls took, what they're saying in those calls, is the customer upset, etc. There are all kinds of data splitting that you can do. You can go in there and listen to the calls where the customer said a specific word. Fine-tune that. Maybe you're looking for a cost word, like every time they talk about the cost of the software. If you're looking for customers' problems, call centers are data-rich. Debbie, how do we build better bridges between the support teams and call centers and the teams working on the products and services? Sarah, work with the head of the call center. The title of the person you're looking for would have some form of process or procedure in it. They might be called a call center product specialist. Call centers are too often untapped. If your company has a face, the call center is the voice. Representatives really do get a different perspective than most in the company. Check in with them often.